I have a special guest today. I have Kristen Pratt with me. We met at a convention. Neither one of us remembers when that happened.
No,
right?
many years ago, though.
Yeah, but we had a bonding moment over grammar, and we're very excited to introduce her. She was the brand and curriculum developer for the Master Books method, and you created that.
I did.
You also, your name's on the spine of some of these books.
It is. It's on the spine of all of them.
Oh. And we have language lessons for living education here
Yes.
today, and we just wanted to dig into it and talk about it and talk about the future. There's a couple of volumes yet to come out, but
Yes.
soon it'll go from grade 1 to grade 12.
It's so exciting.
Very soon, yeah. So we're really excited about this, and we bonded a little bit more today over language yet again. And so I'd like to hear your origin story on how this curriculum came to be.
I was helping Master Books develop their whole curriculum line.
Yeah.
And we had this big empty hole called language arts.
Right.
And we just didn't have an author forthcoming that we could lean into and say, hey. And so we have this whole team of all sorts of editors.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, who among us can write a language arts curriculum? And I kind of felt like everybody else took a step backwards, and there I was.
They pointed at you.
Yeah. I kind of was looking more at like a team kind of a thing, but it all landed in my lap.
Was there light and halo and
Yeah,
things like that?
I think the angels were singing, and I was kind of confused. So
That's fabulous.
yeah, and so it just kind of landed in my lap. I've never considered myself to be a future author of a language arts curriculum,
Right.
but I have a love for language arts
Yeah.
in that I love words.
Yeah.
I love playing with words. I love
Yeah.
having fun with words.
Yeah.
I love giving students the tools to communicate well.
And I think that's really evident. That last line is the communication aspect.
Right.
That permeates throughout this whole series.
I'm glad you see that, because
Yeah.
that was an important
Yeah.
goal of mine in writing it.
Yeah. And aren't we, I mean, that is what communication, verbal and written,
Yes.
that's what it's for, is communicating.
When you think about it, reading is communication. It may seem very one-sided, but somebody
Right.
is giving a message, we have to receive it.
Right.
And that's
Right.
a part of the communication. And then we can turn around and tell somebody else about what we received. And so communication is this fun, like what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a back and forth kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And
It
that's
should be a blast, right?
Yes, it should be fun. It should be fun. And
Yeah.
that absolutely is my goal, is to make it so that kids can have fun with communicating.
Where did you start with that?
We actually started with level 1. We had put together a course, an old Master Books course, and we did away with that and replaced it, but we pulled out the good things from it, and we created level 1. And then I also talked to my daughter, Carrie Lindquist, about doing the Foundations Phonics.
Okay.
And so it was kind of a joint effort.
What we've got here is
Yes.
Foundation Phonics.
The level 1 and Foundations Phonics work hand in hand.
Okay.
And so we didn't want to put our full reading curriculum into one volume because students are so different at that age. Their readiness, it can be day and night. Even
Right.
with the same student,
Right.
from month to month, it can change.
Absolutely.
Their
Can be a lot
development
of
does
growth.
not happen like the school systems would lead us to believe.
Right. It's not a straight uphill.
Right.
Necessarily.
Right.
And so you've created an option with first grade, right?
Yes.
That you can do this a couple of different ways.
Right. You could start if your student is ready, and I really push that idea of readiness.
Yeah.
You don't want to push too hard, too fast.
How do you know a child's ready for?
You want to make
reading?
sure that they can hear the phonetic sounds in words. So you can just test. You can start and say, list out several words. Well, can you hear the sound? Start with the vowels.
Oh,
Because
I
if
like
they,
that.
a lot of students can hear the consonants, but if they cannot distinguish the vowels, they're not ready for a formal phonics program.
That is a really good tip, I think.
It's very, very
The
important.
vowel sounds. And would you start with the short vowel sounds?
I would start with the short, and if they cannot hear that, they are not developmentally ready to begin the reading process. And so it's okay. They're not behind.
Yeah.
They're just not ready. They're probably excelling in another area.
Right.
So what I suggest to help a student become ready is to start doing rhyming games. Start off first by reading rhyming poems.
Yes.
Make up some
very
with
good.
your student.
Right.
You know, start with that and just continue to work with rhymes. And that gets them to start hearing those differences. So that's where I like to begin with a student that's not ready.
Right.
And then start developing their memory. So you can play memory games. So you can list things. You can say egg, dog. Have them repeat that back. And then gradually increase those words. You can have them related to something, to one theme, or just make them random.
I find it interesting that you didn't decide to have them remember a sentence. You chose some different kinds of words.
Yes, because you want them to be, you don't want it to make too much sense where they can just memorize.
Fill in the words.
Right.
Yeah.
You want them to actually be building that memory skill. And there's even games out there that do the same thing, even with adults.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they have that for older people.
They do. I've looked at them and I'm like, oh boy.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, put that on my to-do list.
Yeah, it's kind of this end of life spectrum to
And
this
we
end.
repeat it.
Yes. But
So,
yeah.
and that's what happens kind of in Foundation Phonics is you're working on some sounds and
Yes.
you start, once
Yes.
they're kind of ready, they're showing those
Yep.
those signs that they're ready
Yes.
to dig in deeper.
Right. And that may be in kindergarten.
Right.
In that case, what I would recommend is spreading this out off for the whole kindergarten year.
Okay.
You know, don't rush it.
Okay.
You know, spend time in books in between. And then Carrie put in lots of extra activities that are hands-on. They're writing the letters in sand. They're doing all sorts of things like
Yes.
that helps
Multisensory.
develop them. Yeah, we were talking earlier in a meeting that we had about the importance of having multiple modes of learning.
Right,
So
right.
seeing
Getting
it,
it
hearing
all
it.
different ways.
Yes,
Yes.
tactile. And so you want to engage all those things
whole
when
body.
they're reading.
Yeah.
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 As
in
you
the
know,
mind.
we're very like-minded with these sorts of things.
Told you we bonded in the
Yes.
convention hall. So one could do this just in kindergarten.
Yes.
And then, and we're talking about Foundation Phonics
Right.
for
And
those
there-
who are listening.
There is a plan if you're using the master book system, if
Right.
you're using the kindergarten program. I think it's like week 20 or 22, something like that. I always forget.
Okay.
But at some point, then they say don't use Foundations Phonics until you hit that point. And then you can use both if you want.
Okay. All right. And then you could do this in one semester, the Foundation
Yes.
Phonics in one semester, and for
Right.
a kid who's ready to
Right.
go quicker.
I
right?
would recommend not doing that until first grade.
Right.
So I would not recommend you do that in kindergarten because the actual science, what we have studied,
Yeah.
that your student may test higher in the lower grades if you push them harder, but by about fourth grade or so, they start to regress.
Yeah.
And the ones that took a slower approach, they actually start to succeed. I don't personally know why, but I suspect that we just overwhelm them and we frustrate them and they start to have that cortisol response when it comes to learning. That's what I suspect happens, but I don't know that for sure.
Right. At grade 4, you're starting to learn, you're reading to learn. And so the vocabulary, the challenge level of the sentences, all those things start getting very complicated. And
Yes.
so if you don't have those practical application skills in reading, then you're really gonna struggle and
Absolutely.
start losing a hold of it. If you've just memorized, if you're really good at memorizing and figuring things
Right.
out, it gets a lot more challenging at that
Yes.
point too. So there's a
Yes.
lot of reasons for that probably, but
Yeah.
the master books approach will go at a more slower pace up
Yes.
to a grade 6 in particular, right?
Yep.
So once a child is ready to read, then they can do Foundation Phonics. And then
Yeah.
if they're not quite ready until first grade, they could do this maybe one semester and
Right.
then
That the second semester.
Tell me about the structure of this, because I was really interested when I was first introduced to this program that said the Charlotte Mason flavored.
Sure.
So tell me about that.
Well, the Charlotte Mason flavor changes a little bit level to level.
Okay.
But it draws from the idea that is supported scientifically that children absorb more through shorter lessons than they do to very long.
Okay.
So you're better off to break up, say, an hour lesson into 2 half-hour lessons.
Okay.
And I would say, too, with a school day, you don't want these really long, taxing school days. So you don't want to just double up. Okay, we're going to do, half of our schoolwork in the morning and go to 6 o'clock. You don't want to do that because it's
got this get her done mentality with that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't want the fire hose. You want a drinking fountain.
Okay.
So, take it easy. Don't try to spend hours and hours, because what happens is a lot of that time is wasted because they don't retain it.
Right.
And so they actually get more by doing a shorter lesson.
Okay.
So I a lot of people call it gentle. I just call it effective.
Okay.
Because we don't want to spend time doing things that are not going to be effective just to make us feel better.
Right. That approach in particular is pretty evident in levels 1 through 6.
Right.
Right. Every day of the week has
different
a
focus.
different task or different focus, and then you repeat that pattern the
Yes.
next week, correct?
Yes, we repeat patterns, but we change up
Yeah.
the topic. We change up, like the first day, you might have a picture study, you might be reading a poem, you might be reading scripture. So there's variety within the pattern.
And that's where I see the Charlotte Mason
Yes.
approach come in too, is because they would use real resources,
Yes.
the poetry or the picture study where you're looking at a picture and narrating about it, or
Right.
saying what might happen next, or
Yes.
what happened before
Yes.
this picture, things like that.
Yes, yes.
And so there's that pattern consistently. And what are some other features that you think are really helpful in this elementary level?
One of the things that I did is I put in a lot of information in the back matter. There are games to play.
Let's take a look. There's always just a plethora of stuff.
And some parents miss that. And they get to the end and they say, oh,
surprise.
Yes, I wish I had looked at this.
Of course, the one I pick up is not doing that for me.
And it's always hard to flip it right to the right one.
Okay, so this one's really good.
Yes.
There's
There's copy work.
Okay.
There's here's the game section.
Okay.
They all have a game section.
There's
it's
a
just harder to
game
find.
section, so I'm
Yes.
looking at level 3.
Yes.
Do you call it level or?
We call it level.
Level 3.
Level 3.
So give yourself some freedom with that. Don't be restricted to
No.
a grade, right?
No.
Because you're always looking at what the child's ability is, right?
Yes.
From the very beginning with
Absolutely.
the phonics, right?
Absolutely.
And so this material in the front here was designed for the child, right? And then in the back here
Yes.
is what you were telling me
Yes.
about, all
Yes.
the parent resources. And so you're very engaged with the child
Yes.
in this. There are all these teacher aids.
Yes.
There's over 80 pages of
Right.
material in this grade 3. So
So let's say a student is struggling with verbs. You can go into the back of the book and you can find a game that can be adapted to teach them verbs. My approach is that why give a student more of the same type of thing? I can give more sentences to work with verbs. I can ask them to write more sentences using verbs. But if they're not getting it with the methods that I've already presented, giving them 5 more problems is only going to frustrate them.
well, and that's something that I think we forget about grammar in particular, is that it requires a level of analytical skill.
Yes.
And so it's not just necessarily a memorization, it's an ability ability to apply it. And
Yes.
that would be true for a lot of the writing skills, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
so we need to remember that they're learning a skill, and that
Yes.
it also requires a lot of mental capacity.
Absolutely.
And so you've got some options in the back then for different ways
Yes.
to study. And there's copy work practice in this. There's some sight words.
Yes, for them to practice in the lower levels. Absolutely. It has a list of all the spelling words so that you're not spending time studying spelling words that your student already knows. And,
Okay.
and they can just spell correctly in any context.
Right.
So you can check off those, or just check off the ones, put a check mark next to the ones you want to focus on. They can
Okay.
do it however they want. I want parents to hold the toolbox
Ooh,
and
I love
pull
that.
out any of the tools that they want to use and
Yes.
use them how it best fits their goals.
For example, here's some words from lesson 3. We've got brain, we've got game, we've got pray, we've got take. So we've got some silent E.
Yeah. Long
Affected.
A's.
Yeah, we've got the A sound, but they're created many different ways.
Yes.
So that would be the spelling word list for that week.
Right, and you may have a student that just struggles. Maybe they spell it B-R-A-N-E. And so you're going to focus in on that, but they spell away just fine. So you can mark that off. Okay, we got that down.
Okay, and so will I bring that word again? That word will
Right.
come back, the
Yes.
one, the brain.
You're
That-
going to focus on that one for your practice, whether it's on a whiteboard or
Gotcha.
they're writing it in a sentence. But you can make a mental note even throughout the day or the week to use that word and spell it.
Okay.
So that gives you the ability to track those things.
Okay.
And so you don't have to, okay, we're in lesson 5 now. You don't have to make all those words go away. You can continue to work on the ones that they're still trying to learn. And that's where I like the approach of just checking off the ones that they have no problem spelling.
You got this, right?
Yep.
And that's a sense of achievement too. And so they're
Yes.
empowered to keep learning, and
Yes.
they're not discouraged. So here, there's some reading comprehension going on.
Yes.
I like you're reading with the child.
I always co-read with my kids. Not, it's not like I had to do it every day, but I'd like
Right.
to check in and co-read a little bit to see where they're at. And so that's what this activity is. But some parents don't really know, okay, what sentence would I have them read? So you don't have to follow my suggestions, but I highlighted some simpler sentences that I felt most students at this level should be able to read, and they might struggle a little bit with some of the words. That's okay. You as a parent are able to guide them, and you can read this together, see where your student is at with their reading, know where to focus, know where to shore up some things, and it's a fun bonding moment. My daughter Carrie, she'll talk about those early days of learning to read and sitting on the couch with me, and those are some of her favorite memories. And it's my favorite too with my children are those moments we were co-reading together. And so I wanted to provide a way that you could do it together. Now, I do not suggest that this is your only reading practice that your student has.
Right.
So at the beginning, you're going to pick out books. Now, some people say, oh, I have to supplement with extra books. No, you're not supplementing. That's what I built into the program.
Right.
Because I don't want to pick the books for your family.
There you go.
I want you to pick based on your kids' interests, their reading ability, and then I want you to set the pace. Because some kids can read 5 books a day,
Right.
and other kids, it might take 1 book in a week. So you have the ability as the parent
Right.
to adjust based on your student's needs.
So this is the spine,
yes.
if you will, and then you'll make that choice for the
Correct.
child. And knowing my children, I would have to have a different reading list for each child,
Yes.
right?
Yes, and there's a place in the back of the book that you can fill in even ahead of time if you want, or just copy them down as you go, however you want to use that list. I like to write the books down that I've picked from my student, let them add whatever books they want to read, and then we can just check them off as they've actually read it.
Yeah. That reading back and forth, what did you call it?
Co-reading.
The co-reading. That's much better than reading back and forth. How many levels does that continue in? Do you recall?
I know it doesn't go past 4th grade. Oh,
Okay.
like here's a story. So it may just be, yep, it's only through level 3.
Okay.
And then
all right.
they'll read independently in level 4.
Yeah. And you've got different kinds of writing that
Yes.
you have. Like this is play practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a continuing story, right?
Yeah, it starts in level 2 and goes through level 5.
Okay.
And so some
a
people are
continuing story
some
with
people
Micah and-
yes Micah is actually the name of one of my grandkids. I try to
Okay.
personalize a little bit wherever I could, but
Sure.
you have to find a name that's easy to read as
Right.
well.
And Micah's a challenging one. So
Yeah, that was the easiest of my grandkids' names at the time I started the series.
All
So
right. All right, fabulous. So that kind of gives an overview of up through level 6. Do you have
Right.
any other key points that you'd like to say about up through level 6?
Sure. Level 2 is actually the only level that didn't end up with a required book.
Okay, that's right.
It's just the
Yeah.
skills that we were honing in on and the way that it worked. Levels 3, 4, and 5 has the 101 Bible stories,
Right.
but we've also have an option that's on, I don't know if Rainbow has it or not, but the Master Books website does. It's sheets that could be used instead of or in addition to working with
Those are
101.
on your website. Yes.
Right, for, and what's the name of the book? God's Story.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is used in the upper
7th
levels.
and 8th.
Yeah.
So you'd buy one book, the 101, to use
you
3,
can
4, and 5.
You can all tweak it,
Right.
tailor it to those younger children. So if you have someone using level 7
Right.
with God's Story, then you could
You could do
use
the
that.
downloadable sheets, print them off, and do it that way. And then level 6 uses the 10-minute Bible journey.
right. So there's always almost always, except for level 2,
Right.
there is a companion book.
Yes, and level 1 uses 3 different companion
Okay,
books.
except for another level. And we'll
Right.
get to that in a little
Yes,
bit, right?
yes.
So shall we move the elementary
that, yes.
away?
Yes.
And then we can look at, I have in front of us here 7, 8, 9, and 10,
Right.
right? And these two, 7 and 8, just recently came out. I mean, these have all been
Very
been
quick.
very
And I'll
quick.
tell you the
That's
story
awesome.
behind that.
Yeah.
So they were begging me. I went through chemo. I went through
Yeah.
chemotherapy
We're
while
so
writing some of
grateful.
the
She's-
lower levels.
Yeah, healed through that.
Yes,
Praise
yes.
the Lord.
5 years out
Yeah.
from diagnosis. Actually, over 5 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So God's been good.
Yeah.
And he's just good no matter what. And that's what I
Absolutely.
told my
That's a
family.
good
Even if
point.
I don't make it, if he takes me home, he's still good. But
You have some more writing to do, apparently.
yeah, well,
Some more things to do.
They were saying, "Are you gonna? Are you gonna?" And I just needed time to recover.
Absolutely.
So then we were trying to think, what's the fastest way we can get these
Yeah.
to market? And I
Yeah.
thought, well, if I had a co-writer.
yeah.
So what we did is I actually got 2 co-writers, Rachel Smith and
Yeah.
Sarah Gable.
And Rachel helped you with 7 and 8.
Yes. And Sarah started with 9 while Rachel was doing 7.
Was a Bible name a requirement with us?
It does seem that way, doesn't it? That was okay. Must
That's
have a
why
Bible
Ruth-
name.
That's
Check.
why-
That's funny. I didn't even look at it that way.
yeah.
No, Rachel actually works for Master Books,
Okay.
and she does customer service.
Okay.
And so that's how I knew
wonderful.
Rachel.
Yeah.
And then Sarah, I've known her since I was a little kid.
Oh,
And
my goodness.
yeah,
Okay.
she actually came to our wedding on her birthday.
Oh, my goodness.
So I've known Sarah for many, many years.
Okay. We will talk a little bit about the differences on these because the 7 and 8 do focus on a specific book, have an additional book, and there's some goals with that.
When Rachel and I sat down and we were developing the approach for 7 and 8, what I said was we have to get kids from writing a very good paragraph because I didn't want to jump into writing reports and essays too quickly because what I have found, my experience not only with my own family, but I've worked with thousands of families, they struggle because the kids are expected to write an essay, but they're not even writing a good paragraph yet.
Yeah.
And that can take a while.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt kids, even who can write a good paragraph, to continue to practice paragraph writing.
Right.
And then we transition over into putting together.
Because that's the nugget of the whole
Yes.
thing, right?
If you can write a good paragraph, you can pretty much write anything.
Yeah.
You're just writing more of them. So we wanted to take the student from level 6 and bridge them into level 9.
Right.
And so we have to bring that together. So we have to bring them from more simplistic writing into more complex writing and teach them how to write essays.
By level 9, they're ready to write some essays and
Yes.
also ready to evaluate some deeper writing as well, right?
Yes, and citing and all of those types of skills.
Documentation. And so that's what's happening in what I would call middle school,
right? You're going to see a little bit of a jump there.
Yeah. Yes.
They're going to get into a little bit more complex grammar. We're going to shore up a lot of the skills that they've learned up to this point, but then we're going to push them just a little bit, stretch them a little bit, so that by the time they reach level 9, they're able to just kind of step into that.
Right. And the whole time they're still using those techniques, the repeated pattern every week.
Yes.
Right. And they've got the one book that they're working on that they used, God's Story, correct?
Right. Yeah.
And they're using that in 7, they're using that in 8 as well.
Yeah.
And then they're also still reading additional reading of their own choice.
They're doing a lot of summary work.
Okay.
And that's purposeful. Because what are students doing all through high school? They're taking what they've read and they're breaking it down and communicating back what they've learned.
Right.
And so in these levels, really it starts in level 6.
Okay.
But it kind of ramps up in 7 and 8 where they're really doing a lot of those, summarizing type activities. And that's how they're interacting a lot with God's story, is they're working on their summary skills.
And we've got figures of speech. There's always a word study. You're looking at quotations here.
Yes.
Right? And so I love that you guys provide such large samples, PDF samples of your work. So while we could show you pages, you can get a good 40-page sample PDF and really look at it.
You'll definitely notice too the jump in the design because the kids are getting older now, and so we still want it to be fun and colorful and engaging, but we have older students, so we had to shake up the design a little bit.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on one other thing that we added that our customers have really appreciated.
Okay.
We wanted to put in some practical etiquette type skills.
Yes, I noticed that.
Yes.
Is it in 8? Where
It starts, I think it's 7, but it's part of communication.
True.
Because we
Yeah.
communicate physically.
We do, the nonverbal communication. I did
Yes.
notice that throughout. And then you're eventually getting to a place where your child will be able to give speeches and presentations, and so they're writing their longer piece and then they're giving a presentation on it. So all of those skills are leading up to that.
Right.
Did you include no elbows on the table? Because that was one.
I know.
That was what my mother was like.
I don't know.
You can't do that.
I think of that to this day. That was drilled into me. No elbows on the table, but I don't think it's a thing as much as it used to be.
Yeah. How do you eat your sandwich?
Yeah. But boy, back in the day, you didn't want to be. You'd be dismissed from the table.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Your meal was over.
I found that was great that you respond to customer input and that you had that going on. So at first I was like, oh, I'm surprised by that. But then it all made sense together.
I think if you think of language arts, that our goal was more to be a fostering communication. And so that's really in my mind, even though we know it in the world as language arts, I view it as communication
I
in
love
a
that
broader
approach.
concept. And you'll find one of the things that Sarah included that I absolutely loved in the upper levels was listening skills.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. so important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we've got this 9 and 10. And in 9, boy, I was not prepped for this. We're looking at Pilgrim's Progress. Is that right?
yes. Yes. It's
Okay.
challenging.
Yeah.
Challenging.
And it's, but you're spreading it out over the
Yes,
entire
over the
year.
whole year.
So you're taking it in bite-sized pieces. You're
Yep.
still, and that's the required supplement.
Yes, and the biggest question is, do I have to use your version? And you don't, but I highly recommended it. So I actually commissioned that version.
Oh, how cool.
Yes, I asked them,
Okay.
can you please create this?
Yeah.
And I helped guide that process.
And you if I'm remembering that particular one, it has places for you to document things on the side, right?
Yes.
You can actually journal
Yes.
to the side of that.
I wanted a keepsake for the student if
Okay.
they so wanted to
Okay.
do that, because some of our students love to write, they love to put their own notes, their own take on things.
Yeah.
And so I wanted something that they could have. But it's a standalone book. I mean, to me, that would make a great Christmas gift,
Right.
a coffee table book.
Right.
You know, maybe not as fancy as a regular coffee hardcover, but
And actually, that reminded me that the Pilgrim's Progress in the level 8, right before that, they're developing their own statement of faith,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And so the statement of faith in 8, and then in 9 is the Pilgrim's Progress.
Right.
And, how are you going to live that faith out? That's a
Yes.
really neat
I
connection there.
purposely did it like that.
Oh, did you?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. Because I wanted to prepare
Wonderful.
them to start thinking about doctrinal issues.
Yeah.
Because Pilgrim's Progress is loaded with doctrinal
Yes.
type things for
Yeah.
them to really think about.
It's a really neat connection there. And what else? Are there other recommended readings for this one, or is it just the Pilgrim's Progress?
We pulled from Master Books publishes this huge, I don't even know what to call it. It's a compilation of books by Bunyan. And it's so good.
Yeah.
And so we pulled excerpts out of that book for
Okay.
the student to study, because I wanted them to see that he was more than just Pilgrim's Progress, that he wrote a lot of different things.
Right.
And so it also gives them a little bit of exposure to some other types of writing.
Is that the quote study? Is that part
Yes.
of that? And then, so they'll be doing literary analysis with
Yes.
Pilgrim's Progress. They'll have scripture studies. You're going to have quotation studies.
And the picture studies, a lot of them, maybe all of them, I can't remember now, come from Pilgrim's Progress as well.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's, and there's hymn study. Yeah, there's all,
Yeah,
here
there's
we
a
go.
Pilgrim's
Here's
Progress
a great picture of that.
Yep.
So, yeah, that brings back memories from that book. So, in 9, you're working with that, and then 10. This is biography.
Yes.
And the focus for the writing is biography.
Right.
And I'll be honest, my first reaction was biography all year? All year. That seems like a lot of biography to me. But then I started recognizing that when you're doing this, when you're reading these other sources, what you're having to do is a lot of analytical skills, right? And you're compiling those things and you're distilling them, as we mentioned mentioned earlier. We're distilling those things down, and then we're learning how to apply that in our own writing. So it's a fabulous, and let's see, autobiography and biography, both skills, right? And so they're getting prepped for more rigorous writing, for writing research, right?
Yep.
Because you have to have those skills.
You do.
when you're doing that.
Even if you're doing an autobiography, you're still researching other things that are happening in the world.
Right.
So, we may have a memory that we're talking about, like when Reagan was shot. If I were to give my autobiography, I might share a memory that we were, doing such and such.
Right.
Well, I need to research, that, and I
Right.
need to cite that. And so even if you're doing an autobiography, you still need those skills.
And this is, they're using the MLA format again.
Right.
For 9 and 10. And then I have a surprise. We mentioned that Master Books is really good about getting samples, and I
Yes.
got this like
Exciting.
yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is available on their website. We don't have it quite yet. Right?
Yes, that's a black and white copy that you have.
Yes.
It will be in color.
I was in such a hurry that I didn't get it in color. So
Yes, and that's my son
yeah.
Elijah. That's my youngest.
Is it-
And
so-
then Gabriel, my second to
This one?
youngest, is on 9. So a
Okay.
little fun fact there.
yeah, they're real people.
They are just on those 2 levels. That's all.
All right.
Yep.
And so level 11 will come out
Yes.
like the end of
I
July.
think the end of July, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's been sent off to the printer.
Okay.
Sarah and I were so excited to see it finally come
Absolutely.
into print. So she was actually here. She attended some conferences with me, and that she stayed at my house, and we were going through this.
Oh, wonderful. That's fabulous. And so there's some unique things with this level.
Right.
And, I love that you're going all the way up to 12
Yes.
with this.
Yes.
I find that when we talk to families, they often kind of stop at 10 or so.
You have kids that they still need those credits, and we are preparing them for the next level, whether that's going to be college or the real world.
Yeah.
And so what 11 is doing is 11 is shoring up the skills. It is focusing on character, which
Okay.
is very important
Right.
as they're going out into the job world, as they're going to college. We're still preparing them. And we also want to cover a little bit more logic, because they're making arguments for things.
Right.
And I don't mean by arguing, but they're presenting, which
Yeah.
Well,
it's an
like to do that
analytical.
too.
Well, yeah, but if you're going to argue, let's do it correctly.
Right.
Let's do it analytically.
Yes,
Right? And
yes.
use logic well. So
Yes.
you've got a lot of discussion of fallacies
Yes.
in here.
Yep.
right?
We cover some of the major fallacies.
Okay.
And just kind of help the kids apply that in a way to catch themselves and to recognize it in others as well. And so when they're writing, you don't want them to use, false logic
Right.
to present their ideas. And so really, the study of logic is a very natural, if unexpected, component of communication.
Yeah, I think the best thing that ever happened to me in composition class was a teacher that was the entire semester.
Wow.
Was just looking at someone's, a printed resource,
Right.
and then we had to analyze it and say what were their fallacies in
Okay.
it, what were the problems with that, and that helped my brain so much and my
Yes.
writing skills.
Yes.
Because I think, especially in today's world, we see so many errors
Yes.
and assumptions and things that we need to learn how to deal with, and then also not be that way, not use errors in logic ourselves.
Right. We do get questioned because Master Books also publishes the logic course, which is my absolute favorite logic course of
It
any
is a
I've ever
great one.
used.
Yeah.
They'll ask us, well, can I use this in replacement? No, that goes deeper.
Okay.
It covers,
I'm glad you
it's
brought
a
that up.
broader coverage of logic.
Right.
And I would recommend you either use it by 10th grade or you could use it alongside this, but the presentation might confuse kids a little bit. So I think ideally you would either use it in 9th or 10th grade,
Yeah.
and then this would be a refresher, a reminder, and it would also provide a place for them to practice what they've learned, to apply it.
Very good.
Because I'm all
Very good.
about application. So you'll
Right.
notice all through the language lesson series, we try to provide a place where they can apply what they're learning.
Okay. And I like the learning about fallacies in 9th, 10th grade, and then you can build upon that later on. Yeah. And so not all the fallacies are covered in here.
Right. But some major ones and things to keep in mind when they're writing.
And you've got 4 major assignments
Yes.
is in this one, right? There's some essay writing
Yes.
with research.
Yep.
And there still is going to be some of those studies that we've had from the very beginning, poetry study, hymn study, picture study, still, and analyzing. And then I love the character traits: perseverance, faithfulness, compassion, unmerited mercy. Okay, and then we also get into some literary devices as well.
And we've touched on some of the literary devices along the way, and we're just gonna do a little
going
bit deeper.
Yeah.
Yep.
They will finish with an oral presentation, right? And this critical essay. So,
Yes.
And 12 will, Lord willing, come out next year.
Yes.
Right.
The writing process has begun. She has started to say she sent over the 2-week sample.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Yay.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And we've done some discussion about what we want to accomplish. What I have asked of Sarah is to keep in mind that our 12th graders, they have a lot on their plate at that grade level.
Right.
Many of them have jobs.
Right.
They've got friend groups that are off doing things.
Yeah.
They're just very busy at that point and very distracted.
They're adulting. They're
Yes,
starting to adult.
They
right?
are. They are. And so I wanted something that's going to shore up all the things that they've learned.
Right.
I wanted practical life skills, things like resume writing, things that they're going to really need.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're going to college or if they're going into the workplace, either way.
You're going to need those things.
Yes, and they need to be able to present ideas. So even the essay and the research, all of that is not wasted on the student that is not going off to college.
Right.
So she is doing this practical,
That's great.
concise.
That'll be exciting for everybody.
Yes, but it's still going to be really solid. You're still going to get your 180 days that, are required in some states.
Right,
and,
right.
And all the same, the patterns and all of that. But it's going to be a touch more practical and just really completing that process of preparing students to enter into their next phase.
That's awesome. And this 11 is also unique in that they are choosing their own additional resource, right?
Yes.
That they're going to dig into. Will that happen in 12 as well, most likely?
Yes, most likely.
Okay.
She's still ironing out, so I hate to say anything too
Yeah.
concrete, because sometimes, that didn't really work, so we need to rework that.
Sure, sure. But for sure, level 11,
Yes.
you get to choose your own resource that you're going to really go in depth with,
Yes.
right?
Oh, I know. She's looking the Record of Job. That's going to be a foundational book that she's going to pull a lot of excerpts from.
Yeah.
And it's based on the book that Henry Morris wrote, and there's just a lot of meat there.
Okay. All right. So there will be that book as well. Very exciting.
I don't think you have to purchase it. I think she's going to pull excerpts out. I could be wrong on that.
Okay.
Could be wrong on that.
There's a lot can happen in between now and then, but we're
Right.
very excited about the July coming of level 11.
Yes.
And as I guessed would be true, we could just talk language arts all day long.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And just maybe break for food or maybe not. Right. Is there anything else that you feel like you would love to just share with people who are exploring language lessons or who have been doing it or anything?
A unique factor of the language lessons is we're always looking for how can we grow the students' faith while they're
Very good.
exploring this topic.
Right.
And so it's faith infused. And then the other thing is it's a tool, as we discussed. And parents shouldn't be afraid to add or subtract or manipulate it in some way, change it.
It's tailorable, is that a word? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so go with the rate that your student is learning. Pause when they need that little bit of extra. Don't miss the extra resources at any level in the back of the book. One of the things that we didn't mention is the study sheets that are in the back of the book.
Oh, yes. Very good.
I like open book. You don't have to use an open book, but any of the reviews or quiz you can use as a quiz or a test, and you can choose to make them open book or closed. I like open book because the day and age that we're in right now, information is so accessible.
Yeah.
And so we need to teach them to immediately think, how can I get the answers? And so if we have these study sheets, they can look in the back of the book and find it. So that's a process of looking for the answer, finding it, and saying, okay. And then that helps. That helps it go into their long-term memory so that the next time maybe they don't have to look that up and they just remember it. And so, and I want to keep them within the book and not having to access a digital answer.
Okay.
Because
that's super.
That's going to strengthen their memory better than just, hey.
Because you're physically engaged in multiple ways. All the senses are doing that if they're looking it up in the book.
Right.
And so if you have used language lessons for living education, make sure you look at the resources in the back.
Yes,
There's
absolutely.
a lot of great information.
There is. And you may not use much of it or you may use a lot of it, but it's there if you need it.
Right.
And I consider that a core component of the program. So those games, they're not just extras.
Good.
That's
Good
the
to know.
design of the program, is to have those at your disposal when it's needed to provide a different approach when what you're doing isn't quite getting you there.
And a lot of people respond very well to the just this pick up and go, and but also the tailoring to the individual and to your own home.
Yes.
There were times in my life I think I would have really benefited from having this in my with my kids, and they could have a sense of independent. They're empowered to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have loved talking with you today. Maybe we can do this again when 12 comes out.
That would be fun.
Whenever that is. So please, if you have questions, give us a call. We'll also answer any questions below the video. So thanks so much. It's been fun talking with you today.
It has been a blast. Our family loves Rainbow Resource. We're customers, and I know Sarah's also a customer for sure.